Hello friends, welcome to Book Bites. Today we'll talk about Cribsheet book by Emily Oster. Cribsheet, written by economist Emily Oster, offers a refreshing approach to parenting that is rooted in science, data, and evidence. Oster, who has a background in economics and public policy, applies her expertise to tackle common parenting dilemmas, providing parents with data-backed insights and a balanced perspective. Rather than relying on anecdotal advice or trendy parenting fads, Oster focuses on using research to answer some of the most pressing questions new parents face, ranging from sleep training to feeding practices. The book's core philosophy is centered around making decisions that are informed by data, rather than popular opinion, social pressure, or parenting myths. Oster encourages parents to embrace the uncertainty of parenting while providing tools to make more confident and reasoned choices. Her approach is refreshing because it is not dogmatic. She acknowledges that there is no one-size-fits-all solution to parenting, but that evidence can help guide better decisions. What sets Cribsheet apart from other parenting books is its unique balance of practical advice and scholarly research. Oster sifts through various studies, surveys, and research findings to provide a clear picture of what is likely to be effective and what might not be. The result is a parenting guide that is not only fact-based, but also grounded in the real-world challenges of raising children. Oster's tone is approachable and non-judgmental, making the book accessible to parents of all backgrounds and belief systems. Cribsheet challenges the cultural norms around parenting by providing parents with the tools to make decisions based on the latest evidence. In a world full of contradictory parenting advice, Oster's book is a guide that empowers parents to trust their judgment and make choices that work best for their families. Through practical examples, data analysis, and thoughtful insights, Oster offers a resource that is both comforting and enlightening for parents navigating the often confusing world of child rearing. Let's explore the concepts of the book, breaking them down point by point, and refining the explanation to ensure clarity and precision. Point 1. The importance of data-driven parenting decisions. One of the central ideas of Cribsheet is the importance of making parenting decisions based on data, research, and evidence, rather than on personal biases, myths, or anecdotal advice. In the first part of the book, Emily Oster emphasizes the value of applying a data-driven mindset to parenting. She makes a compelling case for why scientific research can help parents make better decisions, free from the noise of conflicting opinions and societal pressures. Oster begins by acknowledging that parenting is not an exact science and that there is no one-size-fits-all solution. However, she also stresses that when faced with difficult decisions, it's important to take an informed, rational approach. Instead of simply following conventional wisdom or the latest trends, Oster encourages parents to explore the actual research that addresses the issues they care about, such as sleep training, nutrition, and child development. One key concept she introduces is the idea of statistical thinking in parenting. Just as economists analyze data to understand trends and make predictions, parents can use research to weigh the probabilities of various outcomes based on different choices. For example, rather than relying on a single study or expert opinion, Oster advocates for considering the broader body of research on topics like breastfeeding versus formula feeding. She points out that many parenting debates are not settled by definitive answers but by probabilities and trade-offs. The idea of balancing data with personal intuition is a recurring theme throughout the book. While Oster encourages parents to consider the data, she also acknowledges that parenting decisions are deeply personal and that parents must also take their own circumstances, values, and preferences into account. This combination of evidence-based reasoning and personal judgment helps parents make choices that are well-informed but also aligned with their family's needs. In this section, Oster sets the tone for the rest of the book by encouraging parents to trust both the research and their own ability to make decisions that work best for them. She recognizes that the data may not always provide clear-cut answers, but it can still offer valuable guidance. Parents are often overwhelmed by the sheer volume of parenting advice, but by relying on data and science, they can cut through the noise and focus on what truly matters for their child's well-being. Point 2. Sleep training. Understanding the research behind infant sleep. In Cribsheet, one of the most significant and often debated topics that parents face is sleep training. Emily Oster delves into the science behind sleep training for infants, seeking to clear up the confusion and provide evidence-based recommendations. The topic of whether to let a baby cry it out or use other methods of sleep training often stirs strong opinions among parents, family members, and even pediatricians. Oster carefully examines the research to guide parents through this contentious issue. First, Oster highlights that sleep is crucial for a baby's development. Sleep plays a vital role in physical growth, cognitive development, and emotional well-being, which makes it essential for parents to find the best approach to sleep training. However, like many parenting decisions, there is no universally accepted method, and different families have different needs, schedules, and philosophies. The key is finding a method that aligns with the family's approach to parenting while also promoting healthy sleep patterns for the baby. Oster provides an overview of the most popular sleep training techniques, including the Ferber method, often known as Cry It Out, the No Tears method, and variations in between. She emphasizes that sleep training should be done at an appropriate age, typically after the baby is at least 4 to 6 months old, as younger infants have different sleep needs and cycles. From a research standpoint, Oster outlines the findings of multiple studies on the effects of various sleep training methods. For example, studies show that methods like the Cry It Out technique, where a baby is allowed to cry for short intervals before being comforted, can be effective in helping infants learn to fall asleep on their own. Importantly, research suggests that these methods are not harmful to the child's emotional well-being, contrary to popular myths. Sleep training, in fact, can lead to better sleep outcomes for both the baby and the parents. However, Oster also points out that there is no single right way to do sleep training. Some parents may feel more comfortable with the no-cry methods, while others may prefer a more structured approach like the Ferber method. The critical takeaway is that sleep training should be done consistently and with the child's temperament and the parent's lifestyle in mind. In addition, Oster emphasizes the importance of realistic expectations. It is essential for parents to understand that sleep training is not a quick fix, and it may take several weeks to see results. Furthermore, there is no shame in not following a particular method if it doesn't work for your family. The goal is to find a balance that works for everyone involved, leading to better sleep and less stress in the long run. In sum, Emily Oster uses research and data to reassure parents that there are evidence-based approaches to sleep training that can help improve sleep quality for both children and parents. Her methodical approach allows parents to make informed decisions that best suit their needs, whether they choose to adopt a popular method or tailor an approach that feels right for them. Point 3. The importance of breastfeeding. What the research says. In Crib Sheet, Emily Oster dives into the often discussed topic of breastfeeding, offering a balanced and research-driven approach to understanding the benefits and challenges of breastfeeding versus formula feeding. This is another area where parents face significant pressure, with much of the guidance available coming from both cultural expectations and well-meaning but sometimes conflicting advice from professionals. The key point Oster makes is that while breastfeeding is widely praised for its numerous health benefits, especially in the early months of a baby's life, the decision to breastfeed or formula feed should be based on evidence rather than social stigma or guilt. She takes a pragmatic approach, providing parents with the facts so they can make the best decision for their own circumstances without judgment. First, Oster explains the health benefits of breastfeeding. Numerous studies have shown that breastfeeding can provide essential nutrients and immune system support to newborns. Breast milk contains antibodies that help protect babies from illnesses and infections, and the act of breastfeeding has been linked to improved cognitive development. Additionally, breastfeeding is often seen as a way to bond with the baby, as it requires close physical contact, which can be comforting for both mother and child. However, Oster is careful to point out that the benefits of breastfeeding, while significant, are not absolute. There are variations in outcomes between children, and many studies on breastfeeding focus on populations in which mothers have certain socio-economic advantages. Some studies indicate that while breastfeeding may help boost immunity, formula feeding is often just as good for a child's health, especially when a mother cannot breastfeed for reasons like health issues, work schedules, or personal preference. The decision to breastfeed or formula feed is often more complex than simply choosing between two options. For instance, breastfeeding can be challenging for many mothers, particularly in the early stages, with issues like latching difficulties, low milk supply, and the pressure to return to work. In these cases, formula feeding may provide a practical and stress-reducing alternative. Oster stresses that it's important for mothers to know that formula feeding is not less than breastfeeding, and that many children who are fed formula thrive just as well as those who are breastfed. Additionally, Oster acknowledges that while breastfeeding rates in the US are relatively high, they drop significantly by the time babies reach 6 months, which is the recommended duration for exclusive breastfeeding. This reflects the challenges that many mothers face, including the lack of maternity leave, the difficulty of balancing work and breastfeeding, and societal expectations of perfect motherhood. Oster argues that breastfeeding is just one piece of the puzzle when it comes to raising healthy children, and that it's essential for parents to be compassionate toward themselves in making this decision. One of the most refreshing aspects of Oster's approach is that she avoids creating a breastfeeding versus formula feeding dichotomy. She does not judge one option over the other, but encourages parents to consider their personal circumstances and make the decision that works best for them and their baby. The message is clear. The most important factor is that the baby is fed, whether it's through breastfeeding, formula feeding, or a combination of both. Ultimately, Oster's view is that while breastfeeding does offer benefits, it is not the be-all and end-all. The key takeaway from this section is that parents should not feel pressured into breastfeeding if it's not the right fit for their family, and the best choice is the one that makes them feel empowered and supported. Point 4. The sleep debate. How much sleep does your baby really need? In Cribsheet, Emily Oster dives into the topic of infant sleep, exploring the common myths and conflicting advice surrounding how much sleep babies actually need. As with many aspects of parenting, sleep is a topic filled with overwhelming and often contradictory information, which can leave parents confused and stressed. In this section, Oster takes a data-driven approach to cut through the noise, using research to help parents make decisions about sleep routines that work best for their families. One of the primary issues Oster addresses is the standard advice that babies should sleep for long stretches through the night from a very early age. The sleep training methods that promise to help babies sleep through the night, often by letting babies cry it out, are widespread. While some parents and experts swear by these methods, Oster argues that there is no one-size-fits-all approach, and it's essential to consider the evidence before making decisions about sleep training. Oster begins by discussing the natural variations in infant sleep patterns. She highlights the fact that babies, particularly newborns, do not have fully developed sleep cycles, and it's completely normal for them to wake up multiple times during the night. This reality is supported by scientific research, which shows that sleep patterns for babies vary widely in terms of duration and frequency. Moreover, babies may wake for reasons such as hunger, discomfort, or a need for reassurance, and these awakenings are often not a reflection of poor parenting. The book delves into different sleep training techniques, explaining their pros and cons. Some of the most popular methods, such as Ferberizing, gradually letting a baby cry while offering reassurance, are discussed in detail. Oster explains that while studies show these methods can work for many families, they may not be suitable for all babies, particularly those who are more sensitive or who have medical or emotional issues. The research indicates that the effectiveness of these methods depends largely on the baby's temperament and the parent's consistency in implementing the approach. An important aspect of this discussion is the concept of self-soothing, a skill that many sleep training techniques aim to develop in babies. Oster acknowledges that while self-soothing can be beneficial in some cases, not all babies are able to learn to self-soothe at the same pace. For some babies, crying or waking frequently at night is a natural part of their development, and there's no need for immediate intervention. Additionally, many sleep experts caution that forcing a baby to self-soothe too early can create unnecessary stress for both the baby and the parents. Oster also emphasizes the importance of parental well-being in the sleep equation. It's easy for parents to feel like failures when their baby isn't sleeping through the night, but Oster reminds parents that babies don't sleep the same way adults do, and it's okay to have disrupted sleep during the early months. She stresses that parents should prioritize self-care, such as getting help from partners or family members, and avoid stressing over the ideal sleep schedule. Ultimately, Oster's main point is that there's no need to follow rigid prescriptive sleep schedules. While some babies may benefit from sleep training, others may not be ready for it, and it's okay to adopt a more flexible approach. The research shows that while establishing a routine can help, it's just as important to be patient and to adjust your expectations based on your baby's needs and temperament. In this section, Oster encourages parents to trust their instincts and make sleep decisions based on their child's cues, their own family's needs, and the scientific evidence available. The key takeaway here is that, while sleep is important, it's essential to approach it with flexibility and without the pressure to adhere to an unrealistic ideal. Point 5. Vaccines: what the evidence really says. In Cribsheet, Emily Oster addresses the topic of vaccines, a subject that often sparks heated debates among parents. Vaccines are one of the most critical aspects of public health, but the decision to vaccinate is one that many parents approach with caution due to misinformation, fear, and confusion. In this section, Oster relies on rigorous scientific research to break down the facts, putting the fears surrounding vaccines into perspective. One of the key points Oster emphasizes is that vaccines are safe and effective. She acknowledges the widespread anxiety among parents, particularly in the wake of the 1998 study that falsely linked the MMR vaccine, measles, mumps, rubella, to autism. This study was later discredited and retracted, but it had a lasting effect on public perception. Oster presents the overwhelming body of evidence that shows vaccines do not cause autism, a myth that has been debunked by numerous large-scale studies and health organizations worldwide. She encourages parents to look at the data, noting that the benefits of vaccination far outweigh any perceived risks. Oster also discusses the risks of not vaccinating, explaining that vaccines are a crucial part of preventing outbreaks of serious diseases, such as measles, polio, and whooping cough. The concept of herd immunity is central to this argument. When a large percentage of the population is vaccinated, it helps protect those who cannot be vaccinated, such as babies too young for certain shots, individuals with weakened immune systems, and those with allergies to vaccine ingredients. Oster highlights how outbreaks of preventable diseases have occurred in communities with low vaccination rates, showing how important it is to maintain high levels of immunization. Beyond the medical benefits, Oster explores the socio-cultural factors that influence parents' vaccine decisions. She discusses how the perception of risk varies from family to family. Some parents may feel that the risks of vaccines are more immediate or visible than the risks of contracting a disease, while others may fear side effects. Oster acknowledges that these concerns are valid, but emphasizes the importance of relying on scientific evidence to make informed decisions. Vaccines are designed to prevent long-term harm, not just short-term inconvenience, and the risk of complications from diseases that vaccines prevent is far higher than the risk from the vaccines themselves. Another point Oster makes is that while there are some very rare side effects to vaccines, these are far less common than the side effects caused by the diseases they prevent. She stresses the importance of understanding the scale of risk and encourages parents to discuss any concerns with a healthcare provider who can provide accurate information tailored to the child's individual needs. By presenting the risks and benefits in a balanced way, Oster empowers parents to make decisions that are in the best interest of their children. Oster also touches on the role of doctors and medical professionals in vaccine advocacy. She notes that while the decision to vaccinate ultimately lies with the parents, healthcare providers should offer clear, consistent, and evidence-based advice. A strong doctor-patient relationship is key to ensuring that parents feel comfortable making vaccine-related decisions. Oster calls for a collaborative approach in which both parents and healthcare providers work together to understand the evidence, address concerns, and make the best choices for the child's health. In this section, Oster emphasizes the importance of approaching the topic of vaccines with an open mind, guided by science rather than fear. She reassures parents that vaccines are one of the most effective ways to protect their children and society from preventable diseases. By presenting the evidence in a straightforward and accessible manner, Oster helps parents overcome the misinformation that can fuel vaccine hesitancy, ultimately helping them make informed decisions about their child's health. Point 6. Sleep: what parents need to know. In Cribsheet, Emily Oster dedicates an entire section to the importance of sleep, both for babies and parents, and offers evidence-based advice to help families navigate the often complex and challenging world of sleep routines. Sleep is a fundamental part of a child's development and well-being, but parents often face conflicting information on how to ensure their child gets the right amount and quality of sleep. Oster provides a balanced and research-backed approach to understanding sleep needs, addressing common concerns, and helping parents make decisions that are in the best interest of their child's health and development. Oster begins by addressing one of the most common issues parents face: how much sleep a baby really needs. She presents the varying sleep requirements for different age groups, from newborns who need 14-17 hours of sleep per day to toddlers who need around 11-14 hours. While every child is different, Oster highlights the importance of recognizing sleep patterns and ensuring that a child's sleep is developmentally appropriate. She clarifies that sleep needs are not uniform, and there is a range of normal, meaning that some children may need more or less sleep than others without it being a cause for concern. One key area Oster tackles is the sleep training debate, particularly the much-discussed issue of whether or not parents should let their babies cry it out. She presents the research showing that while there is no one-size-fits-all solution, allowing babies to cry for short periods is generally safe and can lead to better sleep for both the baby and the parents. However, she also stresses that sleep training methods should be individualized, and parents should feel free to adapt techniques to what feels right for their family. Oster points out that research shows that sleep training methods do not harm babies emotionally in the long term, which is one of the biggest fears many parents have. Furthermore, Oster examines the question of co-sleeping, which is another contentious topic among parents. She provides a comprehensive review of the research on co-sleeping and the potential risks and benefits. On one hand, co-sleeping can make nighttime feedings easier and foster a sense of security for the baby. On the other hand, research suggests that there may be risks associated with co-sleeping, particularly in terms of suffocation or accidental injury. Oster presents the data clearly, leaving the decision in the hands of parents, but urging them to consider the risks and benefits carefully. Another area Oster delves into is the role of sleep associations, such as pacifiers, rocking, or nursing to sleep. While these sleep associations are normal and often provide comfort to babies, Oster discusses how over time they can become problematic if they prevent the child from learning to fall asleep independently. She provides evidence on how to gradually transition away from these sleep associations, ensuring that the child can develop healthy sleep habits that don't rely on external comfort mechanisms. For parents who struggle with sleep regression, Oster offers practical tips on how to handle these inevitable phases without panic. Oster also emphasizes the importance of bedtime routines and consistency. She explains that having a predictable and soothing bedtime routine can help signal to the baby that it's time to sleep and promote a sense of security. A calm environment, dim lighting, and calming activities such as reading or singing can set the stage for restful sleep. The consistency of these routines is key. Oster explains that when babies and toddlers know what to expect at bedtime, they are more likely to fall asleep with ease. In addition to providing guidance on sleep for babies and toddlers, Oster addresses the needs of parents themselves. She recognizes that sleep deprivation can take a significant toll on parents' mental and physical well-being, especially during the early years of child rearing. Oster advocates for shared responsibility between parents when it comes to nighttime duties, as well as the importance of self-care and sleep for both parents. She also reminds parents that it's okay to seek help from caregivers, whether it's a family member or a sleep consultant, if sleep issues become overwhelming. Oster further discusses how sleep affects a child's development, linking it to cognitive, emotional, and physical health. She explains that sleep is critical for memory consolidation, mood regulation, and overall brain development. Poor sleep can lead to irritability, behavioral issues, and a weakened immune system. By prioritizing sleep and following evidence-based strategies to promote healthy sleep habits, parents can give their children a strong foundation for future success. Ultimately, Oster's approach to sleep in Cribsheet is grounded in evidence, flexibility, and practicality. Rather than presenting sleep as a one-size-fits-all issue, she encourages parents to assess their unique situation and make decisions based on both the research and their own instincts. Whether parents opt for sleep training or co-sleeping, the key is to create a routine that promotes healthy, consistent sleep patterns for their child, while also ensuring that parents' sleep needs are met. Point 7. Vaccines: a data-driven approach to decision-making. In Cribsheet, Emily Oster approaches the topic of vaccines with a clear focus on evidence-based decision-making. For many parents, the question of vaccinating their children can be an emotional and contentious issue. With a rise in vaccine skepticism and misinformation, it's essential to have access to reliable, well-researched information when making decisions about vaccinations. Oster provides a calm, data-driven approach to help parents navigate the complexities of immunization. Oster begins by presenting the extensive scientific consensus that vaccines are not only safe, but also essential for protecting both individual children and the broader community. She refers to numerous studies that have shown vaccines' effectiveness in preventing deadly diseases like measles, polio, and whooping cough. Oster underscores the importance of understanding the difference between correlation and causation when evaluating vaccine safety. For example, there is no credible evidence linking vaccines to autism, a misconception that has been propagated by discredited studies in the past. She explains that the overwhelming body of research conducted by experts in the field consistently shows that vaccines do not cause autism or other developmental disorders. Oster also addresses the risks associated with not vaccinating, particularly the concept of herd immunity. Vaccinating a high percentage of the population protects those who cannot be vaccinated, such as infants, the elderly, or people with weakened immune systems. When vaccination rates fall, outbreaks of preventable diseases become more likely, putting vulnerable populations at risk. Oster emphasizes that by choosing to vaccinate, parents are not just protecting their own children, but also contributing to the well-being of society as a whole. At the same time, Oster acknowledges that there are risks involved with any medical intervention, including vaccines. She does not downplay the possibility of side effects, which can occur, though they are generally mild and temporary, such as redness at the injection site or a slight fever. Oster emphasizes that the risks associated with vaccines are far outweighed by the benefits, and she points out that the chances of a serious adverse reaction are incredibly rare. She encourages parents to consult with their pediatrician to address any concerns they may have and to make informed choices based on their child's health history and unique needs. The book also takes into account the importance of timing and vaccine schedules. Oster provides an overview of the recommended vaccine schedules put forth by organizations like the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, CDC, and the World Health Organization, WHO. These schedules are designed to protect children when they are most vulnerable to certain diseases, and following them closely is essential. She also mentions that in some cases, parents might be able to opt for an alternative schedule depending on their child's health and specific circumstances. However, Oster urges parents to consult with their healthcare provider before making changes to the standard vaccination timeline. One of the key messages Oster conveys is the importance of seeking out credible, evidence-based information when making healthcare decisions for children. She encourages parents to question misinformation and to recognize the sources from which they receive their information. By sticking to reputable sources such as peer-reviewed medical journals, government health agencies, and trusted medical professionals, parents can avoid falling prey to the myths and scare tactics that can cloud their judgment. Throughout this section, Oster stresses that the decision to vaccinate is a deeply personal one. While she advocates for vaccination, she understands that parents may have different concerns, and she encourages respectful discussion and consideration. For some families, vaccine hesitancy is influenced by cultural beliefs, personal values, or past experiences. Oster's goal is not to shame or judge, but to provide the facts and let parents make decisions that align with their values while ensuring the health of their children. In summary, Cribsheet provides a balanced and evidence-based perspective on vaccines. Oster's approach helps parents understand the importance of vaccination in preventing serious diseases and protecting public health. While acknowledging the risks and potential side effects, Oster reinforces that the benefits of vaccines far outweigh the risks. Ultimately, she advocates for informed, rational decision-making based on solid scientific evidence, encouraging parents to make the best choices for the health and safety of their children and society at large. Point 8. Sleep: understanding its role in child development. In Cribsheet, Emily Oster tackles the critical topic of sleep and its impact on child development, offering evidence-based insights for parents looking to establish healthy sleep patterns for their children. Sleep is essential for both physical and cognitive growth, and yet it remains one of the most debated and misunderstood aspects of parenting. Oster's goal in this chapter is to provide parents with practical, research-backed advice to help them navigate sleep challenges without falling into the trap of perfectionism or guilt. Oster begins by discussing the importance of sleep for young children. It's well established that sleep plays a vital role in brain development, memory consolidation, and emotional regulation. For infants, sleep is crucial for their growth as it supports immune function, metabolism, and the development of the nervous system. Oster also emphasizes that sleep contributes to a child's overall well-being, helping them stay alert, happy, and more capable of learning. While the necessity of sleep is undisputed, the methods and practices around sleep can be highly contentious. Parents are often bombarded with conflicting advice on how to get their babies or toddlers to sleep. Should parents adopt sleep training methods like the Ferber method, cry it out, or should they prioritize attachment parenting and respond to every cry? Oster cuts through this noise by pointing to the research, which shows that there is no one-size-fits-all approach to sleep. The key, she argues, is to find a strategy that works for both the child and the family, while acknowledging that sleep struggles are common and temporary. One of the central points Oster makes is that sleep training, or letting a baby cry for short periods of time, has been shown to be effective for many families. Research indicates that when done properly, sleep training can help babies learn to self-soothe and fall asleep independently, which can lead to better sleep for both parents and infants. However, Oster emphasizes that sleep training is not the only option, and it's perfectly valid for parents to choose a gentler approach, such as co-sleeping or responding to a baby's cries more quickly. The most important takeaway from Oster's research is that different approaches can work, and what matters most is consistency and ensuring that everyone in the family is getting enough sleep. Oster also discusses the concept of sleep rules for older children, stressing that establishing a consistent bedtime routine is essential for promoting healthy sleep habits. Children thrive on routine, and a predictable pre-sleep routine can signal to the body that it's time to wind down. Simple activities like reading a book, dimming the lights, and limiting screen time before bed can significantly improve sleep quality. She notes that in addition to a consistent routine, it's important for children to have a sleep-friendly environment, which includes a cool, dark, and quiet room. In terms of sleep duration, Oster acknowledges that there is considerable variation between children. While the general guidelines for how many hours of sleep children need at different ages are helpful, there's no single formula. Some children may need more sleep, while others need less, and the key is for parents to observe their child's behavior and adjust their sleep schedules accordingly. If a child is consistently cranky, sluggish, or unable to focus, it may be a sign they are not getting enough sleep. Conversely, if a child has trouble falling asleep at bedtime or wakes up too early, it may indicate that their sleep schedule needs tweaking. Throughout this section, Oster is careful to remind parents that the goal is not to achieve perfect sleep, but to find a balance that works for the family. Sleep struggles are normal, and parents should not feel guilty if their child isn't sleeping through the night by a certain age, or if their sleep training doesn't go according to plan. As with all aspects of parenting, the most important thing is to be flexible and responsive to the needs of the child while keeping in mind that sleep is a long-term investment in health and well-being. Finally, Oster stresses the importance of sleep for parents as well. Parents who are well rested are better able to care for their children, make thoughtful decisions, and maintain their mental and emotional health. Sleep deprivation can contribute to stress, irritability, and poor decision-making, so it's crucial for parents to prioritize their own sleep needs, just as they prioritize their child's sleep. In conclusion, Oster's approach to sleep in Cribsheet is grounded in a balance of scientific evidence and practical advice. She advocates for a flexible, personalized approach to sleep that acknowledges the variety of ways children may sleep and the diverse strategies that parents can adopt. By focusing on consistency, routine, and a realistic understanding of sleep needs, Oster helps parents create a sleep environment that fosters healthy habits and well-being for both their children and themselves. Point 9. Discipline: setting boundaries without shame. In Cribsheet, Emily Oster dives into the complex topic of discipline by breaking down the myths, emotions, and actual data surrounding how to guide children's behavior. Discipline is often misunderstood as punishment, but Oster reframes it as the process of teaching children how to behave appropriately. Her evidence-based approach helps parents understand the most effective and developmentally appropriate strategies for setting limits and encouraging positive behavior. Oster begins by addressing the emotional weight discipline carries for parents. Many worry about being too strict or too lenient, while others fear they'll damage their child's self-esteem if they use the wrong approach. What she highlights through data and studies is that consistency and clarity matter far more than being perfect. Children need to know what's expected of them and what the consequences are when rules aren't followed. She discusses several types of discipline strategies and evaluates them based on research. One commonly used method is timeouts, which when used properly, can be effective in helping children calm down and reflect. Timeouts are most successful when they are short, immediate, and explained clearly to the child. Oster notes that while timeouts can work well for certain ages and situations, they are not a universal solution. Another method she explores is positive reinforcement, rewarding good behavior instead of only punishing bad behavior. Studies show this method often works better in the long run. When children are praised for sharing, being kind, or following rules, they're more likely to repeat those behaviors. Oster emphasizes the importance of specific praise, telling a child exactly what they did right, rather than just saying good job. Oster also warns against physical punishment, such as spanking. She cites compelling research showing that spanking may lead to more aggressive behavior, emotional issues, and lower trust between parent and child. Not only does physical punishment fail to teach long-term lessons, but it also models aggression as a way to solve problems. Her conclusion is clear: physical discipline is not effective and should be avoided. Instead of harsh punishments, Oster encourages parents to use natural consequences where possible. For example, if a child refuses to wear a coat, they may feel cold. That's a safe, real-world result of their decision. Natural consequences help children understand cause and effect without the need for yelling or threats. She also talks about the value of explaining rules and involving children in setting boundaries. When kids understand why rules exist, they're more likely to cooperate. Giving children some control, like choosing between two acceptable options, can also reduce resistance and improve behavior. Importantly, Oster highlights the impact of parental consistency. When rules change daily or consequences aren't enforced, children get confused and are more likely to test limits. Predictable structure helps kids feel secure and know what to expect. This doesn't mean being overly rigid, but rather being reliable and fair. Oster's approach also respects the developmental stage of the child. A toddler and a 6-year-old won't respond to discipline in the same way. Younger children may need more immediate feedback, while older kids can engage in discussions about behavior and consequences. In closing this chapter, Oster reminds parents that discipline is a long game. The goal is not to win every power struggle, but to help children grow into responsible, thoughtful individuals. There will be setbacks and tough days, but by using research-backed strategies, clear rules, positive reinforcement and consistency, parents can feel confident in the way they guide their child's behavior. Discipline, she argues, is most effective when it is rooted in love, respect, and an understanding of how children learn. Point 10. Work, childcare and balancing life, navigating modern parenthood. In the final chapters of Cribsheet, Emily Oster turns her attention to one of the biggest challenges modern parents face: how to balance work, childcare, and family life. This topic resonates deeply in today's fast-paced world, where both parents often work, yet still strive to provide quality care and attention to their children. Oster tackles this issue with her signature data-driven clarity, while also acknowledging the emotional weight that accompanies these decisions. She begins by dismantling the myth that there's only one right way to parent or structure a family. Oster shows that outcomes for children are not determined solely by whether a parent stays home full-time or returns to work. In fact, the research reveals that children of working parents, when in quality childcare environments, do just as well in terms of cognitive and emotional development as those raised at home. The key factor isn't who is with the child all day, it's the quality of the care and the relationship they have with their caregivers. Oster also addresses the guilt and pressure many parents feel, especially mothers, when they choose to work. She challenges the notion that a good parent must be physically present at all times. Instead, she encourages families to make decisions based on what works best for them, economically, emotionally, and logistically. Her advice: don't let guilt cloud your judgment, make the decision that aligns with your values and your reality. When it comes to choosing childcare, Oster provides a helpful framework. She emphasizes the importance of warm, responsive caregivers, safety, cleanliness, and a structured environment with stimulating activities. Whether it's daycare, a nanny, or a family member, the consistency and emotional connection with the caregiver matter most. She also reassures parents that children are adaptable and can thrive in a variety of care situations. Oster explores the effects of parental leave policies and the stress that short leave periods place on families. She cites research showing that longer parental leave can benefit maternal mental health and child well-being, but she also notes that there is no one-size-fits-all solution. In countries with limited leave options, families find other ways to cope and still raise happy, healthy children. She also discusses the concept of good enough parenting, borrowing from psychology to reassure readers that perfection is not only unattainable but unnecessary. What children need most are loving, engaged caregivers who respond to their needs and model healthy behavior. Being a working parent doesn't subtract from that, it can even enrich a child's life by modeling independence, purpose, and balance. Importantly, Oster shares that prioritizing your own well-being isn't selfish, it's essential. Parents who are rested, fulfilled, and mentally healthy are better equipped to nurture their children. She advocates for shared responsibilities between partners, honest communication about needs, and letting go of unrealistic standards. In wrapping up, Oster returns to her central theme: parents should feel empowered to make informed choices that fit their unique situations. Whether staying home or working full-time, using daycare or a grandparent, outsourcing tasks, or doing it all yourself, none of these decisions define your worth as a parent. What matters is the love, structure, and presence you bring to your child's life. Conclusion: embracing evidence and empowerment in parenting. In Cribsheet, Emily Oster offers more than just data. She provides peace of mind to parents navigating the uncertain and often overwhelming early years of child-rearing. The book empowers readers by replacing fear-based narratives with facts, encouraging parents to make confident, informed choices rooted in evidence rather than guilt, societal expectations, or peer pressure. A central theme throughout the book is that there is no one-size-fits-all approach to parenting. From breastfeeding and sleep training to screen time and choosing childcare, Oster demonstrates that the right answer depends on the specific needs and circumstances of each family. She consistently emphasizes that parental well-being matters just as much as a child's, and that a healthy, happy parent is a critical part of a thriving home. One of Oster's most valuable contributions is her call to trust parents. She doesn't dictate what people should do. Instead, she lays out what the research says, including where it's inconclusive or flawed, and invites parents to weigh the data alongside their own values, situations, and instincts. This respect for the reader's judgment is refreshing in a genre that often leans heavily on prescriptive advice. The book also shines in its effort to debunk myths and social pressures that can cause unnecessary anxiety. Whether it's about the need to breastfeed exclusively, fear of screen time, or the shame some feel around using daycare, Oster helps parents separate fact from fiction. This clarity allows for more thoughtful decision-making and reduces the stress that often accompanies parenthood. Ultimately, Cribsheet is a reassuring, empowering guide that encourages parents to embrace flexibility, critical thinking, and compassion for themselves and their children. Parenting is not about perfection, but about building a loving, supportive environment where both children and parents can grow. Oster's message is clear. Armed with good information, every parent can make the best choices for their unique family journey.